The Maine fun continues. We are heading to Bar Harbor and Acadia National Park.
All right, we've made it. Cadillac Mountain. This is the first place in the United States that you can see sunrise.
They're the biggest tadpoles I've ever seen in my life.
The theme of today's meal was popover.
Oh my God, look how fluffy.
Welcome to Maine Foodie Tours. This town was originally called Eden, like paradise.
On our last episode, we visited the hip river town of Damariscotta, also known as the Napa Valley of Oysters. And today, our coastal Maine road trip continues north to Acadia National Park and the resort town of Bar Harbor. We're Howard and Caitlin Newstate, dog people, food people, adventure people. We've been living on the road for the past 4 years, traveling through North America and beyond. Each week, we bring you along with us to show you how to live like a local in every new state we visit.
Welcome to Bar Harbor, Maine, home to the unparalleled beauty of Acadia National Park.
We always like to do an audio tour to get the lay of the land before we go out exploring on our own. There's actually 2 different guides for Acadia National Park. We picked one in 2018, so now we're going to do the other one in 2022. We'll have a link in the description for both of them below.
Acadia sees on average 4 million visitors a year, landing it in the top 10 of the most visited national parks in the country. With 27 miles of driving road, 158 miles of hiking trails, and 45 miles of carriage roads, there's a lot to explore here. In our opinion, part of what makes it so accessible for all types of visitors is the Park Loop Road, shown here in red. It's a 27-mile scenic drive that takes you along the coastline, through the forest, and by beautiful lakes and mountains. And you can stop at all kinds of incredible overlooks and points of interest along the way. We would recommend budgeting at a minimum 3 hours to drive the Park Loop Road. They're the biggest tadpoles I've ever seen in my life, and their tails are so long, and they actually already have legs, so they're kind of like standing on them, and then there's a big frog that's like kind of watching over them. That is so cool.
As you've probably seen from other travels of ours, most national parks are not entirely dog friendly. In fact, it's usually restricted to like just the campground area, sometimes like a very limited trail, maybe around the visitor center, and that's about it. But here at Acadia National Park, almost all of the trails are actually dog friendly.
Scout is loving this because she gets to go and explore with us. I'm looking this way at the beautiful coast. Scout's looking that way for chipmunks and squirrels. Priorities. Made it by a day.
That sign says starting on June 15th, no dogs.
Which is tomorrow.
Today is June 14th. The water here is wicked cold. Things I wouldn't have expected in Maine. A beach.
Wow.
Like a legit beach, yeah.
Wow. One thing I love the most about the coastline here is just all of the different colors and shapes of the rocks. Like, you drive a couple miles down, it looks completely different than where you just were. It's just so cool that it's like constantly changing and evolving. If it's that strong at low tide, I can only imagine how powerful it is at high tide. I think it's called Thunderhole for a reason, and it's so loud.
All right, we've made it to Jordan Pond. Even the restaurant is dog friendly. All you have to do is just request an outside. As you can see, there's tons of tables outside. You can walk through the restaurant with your dogs out to the patio.
This is one of the most famous spots in Acadia National Park. I'm really excited to get a popover. Jordan Pond House has been feeding visitors since the late 1800s, when a restaurant was first established on the grounds in front of the beautiful glacier-carved lake. The first popovers, which have become an iconic staple, were served here in 1895. John D. Rockefeller Jr. purchased the property in 1928 and donated it to the National Park Service several years later. Then in 1946, Rockefeller began a company to run the Jordan Pond House restaurant to make sure that the tradition of luncheon, tea, and popovers would continue. Oh my God, look how fluffy.
And I ordered a popover sundae, because that's what you do. Look at this. This is a chocolate ice cream with blueberry sauce and a popover. Wow. But that was delicious.
Yes,
beautiful,
so
beautiful surroundings to have a delicious popover meal.
And to walk off all those popovers, you can stroll along the Jordan Pond Path and take in views of the deepest and second largest lake in Acadia National Park.
Well, good morning from a overcast and kind of rainy Bar Harbor.
That's the perfect day to spend indoors eating.
Yeah, so we found a tour that will be taking us to some of the best dining and food options here in Bar Harbor.
Yeah, and I'm excited because you guys know I love to eat.
Welcome to Maine Foodie Tours. My name is Randy. I've been a Maine foodie tour guide for, 13 years. I love this job because I get to tell people about this beautiful, beautiful island. We're gonna have a low bush blueberry coffee cake, and we'll follow that up with a little bit of refreshment. Blueberry soda is blueberry again, and that's a Maine company, Maine root. We'll finish with a lobster slider. You get a choice of a lobster bisque, or you have a choice of that or a clam. So what couples are doing, I'm not telling what to do, but one will get clam, the other one will get lobster bisque, and I go, we'll just share it. You'll see almost every street you walk down, there's always these smaller, medium-sized, and huge cottages that they've built over time. And some of them date back to the 1860s, right up until the early 1900s. That was the cottage building era. Tourism here started just by this guy, Thomas Cole, a student of a Hudson School of Art, and he painted what he saw up here. The landscapes, the seascapes, the mountains that Samuel Champlain named Île de Mont Désert, Island of Deserted Mountains. So that stuck, Mount Desert Island. So the founders discovered this place by looking at art in art galleries in Boston, Philadelphia, and New York. So they said, gee, where is this place? This is beautiful, you know, the ocean, the surf, and pink granite, you know, on these hills. And this town was originally called Eden, E-D-E-N, like paradise.
All right, so the last time we did this in 2018, this felt like a giant secret. But today, there are hundreds of people who are coming or going from this little island. And when the tide is low, you can walk right out into the harbor.
Yeah, the tides are so drastic here. It's like you're walking on the ocean floor. The ocean just vanishes with the tide. It's so cool. All right, let's go see what we can find, like some snails and clams and ocean type things. And I wore my water shoes so I can walk out there.
Caitlin's smart. She learned from last time that it gets kind of muddy and boggy.
Well, it was also raining that day, remember?
Oh yeah. This is way before we had a YouTube channel.
I did a really horrible job at documenting this on Instagram stories. It's kind of cringy to go back and watch it.
Hey, it was our first trip. It was our very first trip, and we were like so excited. And we just wanted to share things with y'all.
Well, and I was still talking like a news reporter all the time. We are walking right now on the ocean floor in Bar Harbor, Maine. It's low tide. And you can walk all the way out to Bar Island. The pathway is only accessible about 4 hours a day, and if you get stranded, there's 9 hours between each tide. Live here, Bar Harbor, from the ocean floor.
Dateline Bar Harbor.
So there's a car out here on the sandbar right now, and when we were here in 2018, there were pictures of cars that got trapped because they didn't double check the tide chart. And so when the water came back in, the cars were submerged in water. People have also gotten trapped over on this island. So when it's low tide, you can walk over to the island and hike around. But again, people don't check the tides or don't like plan in advance, and so they end up getting stranded out there. I just love these so much. So these big rocks are covered in seaweed, and it's just so cool because, you know, when the water's up, obviously it's like, you know, floating seaweed and stuff. When the water goes down, they're all flattened out. And I just love it because, like, you're getting to really like peel back the curtain, or in this case, peel back the ocean, and get a glimpse of what's under all the water.
All right, we've made it. Cadillac Mountain. Yes. You come up top. Thanks so much.
This is a must-visit spot when you're here in Acadia National Park.
It is. It's a beautiful view. It's 1,540 feet. I heard somebody say that. According to the National Park Service, this is the first place in the United States that you can see sunrise from October until March.
That is one of the highly coveted things to do here in Acadia, and unfortunately on this trip we didn't get to do it. And that's because they have implemented a new reservation ticket system.
What happens is they release one batch several months in advance, and then the remainder is released 48 hours before the date that you want to travel up the mountain. And it literally almost crashes the website every single time.
Yeah, and then by 10:01, before the clock even struck 10:01, the remaining tickets were gone. We did get to do it back in 2018 when we were here before, so you can enjoy this footage. instead.
We will only have 2 dogs in this footage instead of 3 because at that point we had not met Scout yet.
You may be asking yourself, well, how are we up here now? They do have daytime tickets, and there are a heck of a lot more of those.
Oh, yeah.
And so you can just book another time slot and come up here, and it's still worth it and epically beautiful to see the views out from Cadillac Mountain. It's incredible.
And if you're looking for the quieter side of Cadillac Mountain, you come to the western parking lot. There's almost no one here. We have the whole west side to ourselves, and it's beautiful.
Welcome to my private mountain.
What a sweet ending to our Bar Harbor and Acadia episode.
And our road trip through Maine.
I know, because next we're going to be heading across the border.
Ooh, stay tuned. We're doing something we've never done before.
We're taking a ferry, and not just any ferry, a cat ferry. So it's a high-speed ferry to Nova Scotia.
That's right, we're shipping off to the Maritimes of Canada. Come along as we explore Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and New Brunswick. From the Bay of Fundy to the mountains of Cape Breton Island. You won't want to miss all the Canadian fun. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon.